What's up, everybody? It's your boy LB. You know what I'm saying? Another day, another album review. And so, an album I want to talk about today is another classic album from one of my favorite hip hop groups. And I think one of the most underrated hip hop groups, you know what I'm saying, in the genre in general, and probably to come from the West Coast. And I'm talking about the Pharcyde, you know what I'm saying? Lab Cabin, California, released in 1995. This was the Pharcyde's second album, um, released on Delicious Vinyl, and this album right here, you know, they went a whole, they took like it was a different direction than Bizarre Ride. You know, Bizarre Ride was like more of a, it had more of a, I guess you say more of a youthful feel to it. It was more uplifting, more lighter, more comical. You know what I'm saying? Humor. Yeah, you know they had much of a more sense of humor on that album. You know what I'm saying? And you know, of course, also they had a different producer. You know what I'm saying? Jay Swift produced majority of that album. You know what I'm saying? And the beats were more like had more of a jazzy feel to them. The beats did. You know what I'm saying? Production wise. But anyway, you know, Lab Cabin California. The group they matured a lot more, you know, as far as their lyrical content. Most of the subject matter on this album deals with like how they are handling fame, you know, since Bizarre Ride, and like, you know, personal relationships with women, you know what I'm saying, the death of loved ones, and you know, just just all around more mature subject matter. And the production is a bit more. I guess you could say this album was a bit more darker. The production is a more mellow and spacious, and the reason behind that is because this is when Jay Dilla, you know what I'm saying, rest in peace. This is when he was working with the Delicious Vinyl. When he produced quite a few tracks on this album. He had a lot to do with the production on this album. You know what I'm saying? We all, there's no need for me to really go into Jay Dilla. I mean, you know, any true hip hop head out there knows about Jay Dilla. You know, knows about his accomplishments. You know what I'm saying, the things that he's done. But yeah, man, he had a lot to do with the production, and that's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? I always felt that this album has been overshadowed by Bizarre Ride. I actually like this album better than Bizarre Ride. You know what I'm saying? I like Lab Cabin California. I mean, if I have to say, you know, it's my favorite Pharcyde album, easily. I can say that because it's the one that I find myself listening to the most, if you know what I mean. And it's just a great album. I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, though, this album, you know, when it was initially released, man, I guess you could say it was a sophomore jinx. Like it was nowhere nearly as successful as Bizarre Ride, despite, you know, the singles Drop and Running being like chart toppers, man, getting a lot of airplay. Despite those hot singles on the album, man, this album was really slept on. You know what I'm saying? Drastically. I mean, tragically, it was slept on. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I guess people thought that they were going to get another Bizarre Ride. You know what I'm saying? But this album didn't even go gold. And, you know, I kind of felt that was kind of shitty, in my opinion. I mean, but, you know, it wasn't a Bizarre Ride. But, like I said, man, this album, I mean, they matured. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to tackle new ground. I mean, that's something that that's something that we as fans really don't seem to understand. That, you know, these artists, man, they evolve, and, you know, a lot of these artists, they don't want to keep doing the same old thing over and over again. Now, there's some artists, right, that out here that will do the same thing over and over again, and it works for them. You know what I'm saying? They just keep on doing what works and what keeps them relevant. But some artists, you know, they want to they want to evolve. You know what I'm saying? You know, when they want to do a new album, they want to do a new album. They don't want to do the same old album over and over again. They want to do something new. And I think that a lot of artists and a lot of groups have been unfairly slept on because of that. I mean, of course, man. You know, like, you know, this album may not grasp you at first listen like Bizarre Ride. I mean, you know, I will say that about a Bizarre Ride. When you first listen to that album, you know, from the first track, you know, oh shit, you know, it grabs you. I will say that. This album right here, it may not grab you like that. You may have to listen to this album like a couple of times before you really start to see the greatness of it. Um, but I mean, at the same time, I don't think you should have to listen to it too many times or really deep into it to really to get it. I mean, it should only take you maybe like a few listens and then like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Hell, this is a great album. But you know, some of my favorite tracks on here, like the first track, Bullshit, which is a Jay Dilla one. Great introduction to the album. I mean, really sets the tone for the rest of the album. I mean, you know, the rest of the album is pretty mellow. Um, oh yeah, and also another thing to note is some of the members of Pharcyde actually had got some production credits on this album. But this album was re-released by Delicious Vinyl, I think maybe a couple of years ago, like a box set edition. You know, it probably, you know, it included like I think an instrumental disc, some bonus tracks, you know, like remixes or rare tracks that really aren't heard, and you know, probably I think a new booklet filled with new liner notes and more pictures. Yeah, that was re-released like maybe, I guess maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, this album is still in print. And also, man, this was like the last album where like the original lineup was together. Cause after this album, Fat Lip and Slim Kid Trey, you know, they left the group. Slim Kid Trey, or better known as Trey Hartson, he left on good terms. You know, he wanted to just venture out and do his own thing. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, he's not only is he a talented rapper, he's a talented singer too. So he wanted to venture off and do other things. Fat Lip, his departure was not so, you know what I'm saying, a Mac, you know, on good terms or whatever. You know, he started, like, there was a lot of internal issues. Like, I know I watched an interview from Fat Lip, and he said one of the problems was, like, he was really a big fan of East Coast hip hop. Like, you know, he really was a fan of like Wu-Tang, Big Daddy Kane. That's where he got his influence from. He always felt that anything that wasn't what they were doing was whack. And he was always in conflict with the other members because, you know, they were pretty much being themselves, you know, as far as their style. And he kind of like thought they were whack for what they were doing. And, you know, he said eventually, you know, they kind of just told him that, you know, maybe he should just go on and do his own thing. So I guess in a nutshell, he was kind of kicked out of the group. But yeah, this was the last album where all the members were really together. And, you know, and of course, you know, in recent years, you know, they've been doing reunion shows and stuff like that together. I know they done one like last year sometime. But I don't think they're really together officially, like to record a new album or anything. But yeah, this is definitely a great album. Definitely overlooked, but this is definitely an overlooked gem. Like I said, man, Lab Cabin, California, by the Pharcyde, released in 1995. You know what I'm saying? Don't sleep on this album, man, because this album is good. Yes, it's not a bizarre ride, but it's definitely a great in its own right. It's definitely a great in its own right, man. So definitely don't sleep on this record. Definitely give it up. I mean, pick it up, I mean. But as always, you know what I'm saying? Love, peace, and happiness. Be blessed. Peace.